In the secure unit where I learnt about chemicals, namely amphetamine, which is what's known on the street as speed, and I developed a taste for that. So mixing the cannabis with the alcohol with the speed is a very dangerous cocktail, and that's where my violence started to kick in.
I always remember my first weekend in Belmarsh prison. I thought I might be in some sort of Moroccan souk rather than an English jail. There were so many people just spinning around on these substances. And the drugs flow like a river through our prisons. That's the reality. The Home Office and the Minister of Justice like to deny it, but actually anybody who's had real first-hand experience know that drugs are, number one, an enormous source of trouble in prison. Secondly, they are an enormous cause of crime. And so until we help people tackle their addiction problems, probably the repeat offending rates will remain very high.
I can remember trying to wash myself in the sink because I felt dirty, trying to get rid of that muck. But it wasn't until I was able to make a conscious decision to actually do things God's way that I felt clean.
In Matthew 20:23, it had said, "All you come who are overburdened and heavy laden," and it just hit my heart, and I just started crying, weeping. I hadn't cried in 10 years.
It's not just enough to go in and introduce people to Christ. We've got to work with them and walk with them and get them through that prison experience and meet them at the gate when they get out.
A charity that is doing just that is called Caring for Ex-Offenders. It was born out of the Alpha for Prisons ministry.
And that's what the charity wants to do. It meets these men and women at the gate upon release and helps them in practical ways and then reintegrates them back into society through using the local church. One of the areas that we found that the churches really needed help in is mentoring these men and women when they came out. So what we've done at Holy Trinity Brompton is develop a mentoring course which really calls in mature Christian men and women to walk alongside these men and women when they're released from prison and help them in practical ways. Maybe meet once a week somewhere, sit down, have a cup of coffee or a cup of tea and chat about the stuff that can be difficult at times to cope with. So we've produced a mentoring training program for the churches that are involved.
Can anybody be a mentor? Yes, I think they can, if they have time and patience and are good at listening and have a heart for people who are ex-offenders. With those provisos, I do believe that just about anybody can do it. And they should do it because this is such important work. An ex-offender could probably do it even better than somebody like me. I think ex-offenders would be absolutely marvellous for this.
That's something that I wasn't given before. As a pre-Christian, I had to find those things myself. And more often than not, as a non-Christian, governed by the laws of crime or whatever, you look to provide yourself with such things in ways that you're used to, such as stealing, begging, mugging, whatever it might be. Whereas it was such a relief to go out this time knowing that the church was looking after its own.
Churches are just the kind of place where ex-offenders should go, but it's no good just in a very vague way people coming to a church and saying, can I join your congregation? There needs to be somebody who will look after this person. And as for the community, it's even more important, I think, because otherwise people are just bound to re-offend, almost bound to re-offend, and the re-offending rates are just so horrific in every country, not only in the UK, but in every country in the world.